Anyway, Mayor and Council, thank you very much for this opportunity to speak to you about the rezoning proposal for 105 Keefer Street. It is, of course, one of the pivotal questions around the future of Chinatown, as I believe that Vancouver's Chinatown is one of our most significant heritage neighborhoods. I grew up and lived in the Chinatown and Strathcona neighborhoods. I guess you could say it's the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s. I've already given away my age. And I bought my first home here in the 80s. My family and I fought to save these mutually dependent neighborhoods from demolition and the freeway proposals during the late 60s and early 70s. You heard Hayne talking about how his brother Joe got him involved. Well, we got Joe involved too. We organized our neighbors, and we worked in partnership with the Chinatown leaders, of whom my father, Walter, was one. My mother knew everyone, having been a single one-person social service in the community, helping people find housing and jobs and husbands. And she organized the block captain. That was the approach we used to unite our community, keep it informed, keep everybody aware of what was going on. And the Chinese residents of Strathcona, they worked and shopped daily in Chinatown. We did pedestrian counts of the crossings of Gore Avenue to get to Pender Street to shop. Shoppers don't work that way anymore. You can live in Chinatown, we discovered, and not ever shop in Chinatown. In fact, they just hop in their cars and they go somewhere else. I asked them where they shopped, and they said up at Donald's Market or over at Famous Foods, right? So that was our mistake. We thought that people, if we got more people to live in Chinatown, we'd get more people to shop in Chinatown. Well, growing up, we partied there in Chinatown. We celebrated births there. We had weddings. We had all kinds of other family events. We went to nightclubs there too. I wasn't allowed to go. My parents were partners in the family business at the corner of Pender and Columbia, which was founded by my uncle and maternal grandfather. And my father worked there as a manager. Our Chinatown featured large in the lives of Strathcona residents. And when we were threatened with losing our homes to urban renewal and a freeway system in the 60s and 70s, the community fought back. We lost phases 1 and 2. We lost our neighbors. We lost homes before we succeeded in stopping an unfair and unjust program designed by the city to disperse the Chinese and to build higher density housing and a freeway through the heart of Chinatown. But they're going to beautify it by hanging flower baskets from the bottom. And Vancouver today is freeway free as a result of that fight, as a result of citizens who decided to take on city council, even though we were told by Harry Rankin, who was a champion, that we were too late. It was already decided. Didn't take that for an answer. We were too naive. Well, tragically, it appears we're back to square one, and after 2 massive developments at the corner of Main and Keefer, our eyes were opened. We realized that the zoning approved by City Council was not designed to save Chinatown, as we had foolishly thought, but it was effectively designed to replace Chinatown as we knew it. There were no incentives to keep the buildings. In fact, the incentive was to tear it down. So the preservation of character was not successful. We'd lost the small storefronts, the mom and pop businesses, the pedestrian-friendly streets. Now they were shrouded in shadows. And we talk about lane reactivation, but I haven't seen too much activity except when I look down at the drug dealing that goes on. The housing and businesses lacked any meaningful link to Chinatown. That's the new developments. Now, a former heritage planner kindly explained and enlightened us by saying that the zoning lacked a cap on FSR because heritage areas didn't usually need them. You know, across the street from Woodwards, you have all these buildings, so the FSR is very low. Our FSR in Chinatown is higher than in Yaletown, 7.5 7.1, 7.6. I mean, that's not going to preserve the buildings as we know it. And 105 Keefer is really situated at a hypersensitive corner, a gateway to Chinatown from the south, abutting a memorial honoring fallen soldiers of Chinese descent and railway workers like my great-grandfather. And across from the cultural center, and you've heard about the world-renowned Sun Yat-sen Classical Chinese Garden, which backs onto the site. So 25 seniors units of only 8, which are for core need, is not going to be the answer. I do support social housing. I worked for social housing. And so I ask council to do what seems really difficult to do, but you know what? It's not as difficult as 58 West Hastings was. When you approved the development by Concord Pacific, and then you made a swap. I ask you to really think about Chinatown and do the same for this neighborhood. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for being here to speak.
No questions?
No questions for you?